Computer games are all over, with kids beginning to play basic iPhone games as youthful as 2 years of age. Computer game compulsion has become an issue. In any case, computer games can influence our cerebrums in other amazing manners. Here is 10 ways video games affect your brain. As per the familiar adage, the family that kills together remains together. Nothing improves kin connections more than severely butchering each other in Call of Duty. What's more, presently, science has demonstrated it. In 2015, Brigham Young University directed an investigation to decide how playing computer games together influenced kin connections. They had siblings and sisters report how regularly they played computer games, how frequently they played with their kin, how regularly they had struggle with their kin, and how they would rate their kin connections. At that point, the scientists requested that the examination members name the best 3 games that they jumped at the chance to play with their siblings. The results astounded the specialists. Kin who played rough computer games together had less kin struggle. This conflicts with most computer game examination that says brutal computer games increment animosity. Be that as it may, one needs to think about the unique situation. More often than not, the kin are guarding each other against fierce rivals. It's sort of difficult to remain distraught at your younger sibling when you recall that he spared your life in Halo. Researchers additionally found that computer games expanded friendship between kin because of shared encounters. By drenching themselves in the computer game world, kin can share encounters, play together, and reinforce kin bonds, clarified analyst Sarah Coyne. The specialists estimate that playing computer games together might be another approach to fortify kin connections more than ever. Numerous individuals have gotten connected to certain computer games, and it communicates in a wide range of insane ways, from purchasing broad computer game assortments to murdering others for the sake of computer game characters. This isn't stunning on the grounds that individuals were fixated on book and film characters before computer games even existed, but it could be an astonishment to discover that computer games inspire an extraordinary sort of response from players. An article by the University of Munster addresses this wonder of eudaimonic responses, which are important responses that are not hedonic. Those are feelings that don't legitimately integrate with delight or joy. This incorporates how we mirror the story, how playing the game fulfills our should be capable and upgrades our psychological capacity during the game, and how collaborating with different characters or players fulfills a portion of our need to socialize. The article examines how the utilization of account, setting, and mechanics presents new layers of communication and more layers of reaction. Albeit every one of the measurements talked about above makes novel commitments to the gaming experience. It is the point at which each of the 3 elements, story, mechanics, and setting, cooperate and show that games might have the option to make the most impressive encounters, said creator Malte Elson. Video games release an absolutely new encounter for individuals. They play the characters, they witness the story, and they collaborate with the game world. There has been a media storm that joins savagery in computer games to mass shootings. Despite the fact that reviews consistently show that computer games increment animosity, it again relies upon the unique circumstance. If you are playing a saint, you are likely less forceful than somebody who plays a villain. Research drove by the National Science Foundation found that players of rough computer games in a pro-social setting, for example, helping an individual character, were less forceful than players of vicious computer games in an ethically vague context. Participants played one of 3 computer games: a zombie game in which the character secured an individual character as they gathered supplies, a zombie game in which the character was chasing zombies for sport, and a riddle game that resembled Tetris. The members were informed that they were playing against another member, yet they were really playing against a PC. The failure of each round had an undesirable impact of repetitive sound through their earphones. The force and volume of the background noise set by the winner, the PC, was modified to win multiple times and let the members win multiple times, albeit both were forceful. Members playing the pro-social zombie game were significantly more indulgent than the ethically uncertain players when choosing the power of the repetitive sound. The most altruistic players were the riddle game members. A large portion of the fun of playing computer games is customizing a lotta symbol. Games like Skyrim and Pokémon X depend on players modifying the characters to look like themselves to make the game more similar and individual. However, what does this do when we play rough video games? A concentrate by the University of Sussex and the University of Innsbruck found that customizing a symbol expanded an individual's degree of animosity. When playing fierce video games, participants were partitioned into 4 gatherings. The individuals who customized a symbol in a brutal computer game, the individuals who customized a symbol in a peaceful computer game, the individuals who played the savage computer game with a conventional symbol, and the individuals who played a peaceful computer game with a non-exclusive avatar. After members played their game for 30 minutes, they were approached to assist the scientist with another investigation. Someone else would come in to trial some hot bean stew sauce. The members were informed that this new individual couldn't stand hot bean stew sauce yet was doing it for the great pay. The members were then approached to direct the sauce on the grounds that their taste analyzer must be visually impaired for the examination. The analysts left the room while the members put any measure of very hot stew sauce into a bowl. After the members left, the measure of sauce was weighed. Even however, they were informed that the member didn't care for hot bean stew sauce. The individuals who emptied the most sauce into the bowl were the individuals who played the rough computer game with customized symbols. Scientists noticed that it didn't make a difference on the off chance that they made the character look like themselves. However long they set aside the effort to alter the symbol, animosity expanded. Computer games open up new universes and let us experience things that would be unbelievable in actuality. In computer games, we spare universes, play the saint, and go to dreamlands that we never figured possible. We can shape arrays of mistresses, spare or bring down countries, and find realities about the world and ourselves. We can even bite the dust and return to life, over and over. In certain games, character's demise is a fundamental to the story. A concentrate by Auburn University analyzed the connection between fierce computer games and self-destruction ability. Self-destruction capacity is characterized as the capacity to conquer dread of death and a resilience to torment to submit suicide. The hypothesis behind the investigation was that playing vicious computer games desensitizes players to death and expands their ability to end it all. As a result, participants were asked how frequently they play brutal computer games and the normal rating for the games they played: E for everybody, ET for everybody 10 and up, T for adolescent, M for develop. At that point they rounded out psychometric surveys about bravery of death and torment tolerance. Surprisingly, the recurrence of playing fierce computer games had little impact on the valor of death. When a member had finished a vicious computer game, the impact remained with them. Individuals who played more vicious computer games had less dread of death, yet not an expansion in torment tolerance. Keep as a primary concern that this examination isn't stating that individuals who play rough computer games will end it all. It essentially implies that they are more alright with the possibility of death and biting the dust than others. The observer impact is perhaps the haziest thing that people normally do. Beginning with the homicide of Kitty Genovese, analysts found that if there are more individuals in a given zone, it turns out to be more outlandish that one of them will help an individual in a difficult situation. A great many people expect that another person close by will deal with the problem. A concentrate by the University of Innsbruck found that the onlooker impact additionally occurs in computer games and can wait after the game is finished. When there are more non-playable characters, NPCs, players are less inclined to support different NPCs. Exploration has demonstrated that regardless of whether the presence of others is fanciful, individuals are still less inclined to help out. The members in the investigation were approached to play Counter-Strike, condition 0 of every 2 gatherings. One would play as an individual from a police group against a psychological militant group, and one would play as a solitary cop attempting to stop a terrorist. After the game was finished, the members were approached to help an understudy attempting to finish his own task. They were asked how long they were happy to spend helping the understudy. Members who were solo game players were happy to give more opportunity to helping the understudy than the individuals who played on groups. The fanciful group actually existed in players' brains regardless of the way that the game had finished. Ethical quality computer games are a generally groundbreaking thought. In the game, you can pick whether to be acceptable or evil, and your decisions influence the finish of the game. Starting at mid-2016, games like BioShock and Undertale have probably the best audits and are flooding in ubiquity. The possibility that the whole game's story will change with each choice is engaging players. In any case, in what capacity will it influence behavior, as consistently? Science has the appropriate response. An investigation drove by the University of Buffalo analyzed the impacts of being fortunate or unfortunate in a computer game. They requested that members play a first individual shooter game as either a cop or a terrorist. The game educated the player regarding the inspirations and objectives of the characters. After the game, the members finished a moral foundations questionnaire and were approached to rate their blame and disgrace about what they had done. Participants who played a psychological militant evaluated higher on blame and disgrace. This astounded the scientists since they anticipated that players should get desensitized to brutality and good violations, yet players who experienced abhorrent expectations as a computer game character really turned out to be more delicate to the evil on the planet. Yet, it possibly occurred in the event that they initially felt blame. In the event that they didn't at first feel blame for their activities, that is a troubling sign. It's regular information that the quicker you attempt to complete something, the less precise or right it is. A quickly composed paper isn't close to as great as one composed cautiously over 2 or 3 days. Food prepared rapidly normally isn't comparable to food prepared correctly. Maybe you've had that one companion who says, "Think quick," and afterward tosses something at you. Generally, you'll miss it since you needed more an ideal opportunity to sort out where to put your hands to get it. In the event that you ordinarily get it, congrats. That is impressive. An article by the University of Rochester examined the connection between expanded movement separation, task exchanging, and visual pursuit capacities in the individuals who played computer games and the individuals who didn't. They found that the individuals who played computer games, particularly games like Call of Duty or Halo that necessary the player to think rapidly and shoot precisely, had expanded their capacity to detect movement, monitor individuals or things in their fringe vision, and changed, starting with one assignment then on to the next quickly. The article finished up by proposing that computer game preparing might be a compelling type of diminishing response time and expanding high intellectual capacities. It's nothing unexpected that computer game treatment is currently viewed as a genuine type of treatment. All things considered, equine treatment has been a successful type of treatment for quite a while. In the event that creatures can assist individuals with defeating mental issues, why not video games? Researchers at the Eating Disorders Unit of Belvitge Hospital in Barcelona, Spain, contemplated whether computer game treatment would assist young ladies with beating dietary issues. They especially centered around bulimia nervosa, a dietary issue wherein patients gorge, indulge, and afterward promptly cleanse, upchuck the substance of their stomach. Shockingly, computer game treatment helps in this context. Play Mansa is another stage that utilizes a biofeedback machine to play computer games. The game goals are intended to assist players with controlling driving forces and figure out how to unwind in distressing situations based on results from the biofeedback machine. The games become more troublesome as the players become more anxious and pushed. In certain games, the character won't move until the player's breathing turns out to be without rushing. They make appropriate outward appearances, or their pulses is back down. The specialists found that young ladies who played the games had diminished uneasiness and more drive control toward the finish of their treatment. The utilization of reproduced circumstances through computer games end up being a powerful treatment on the grounds that 89% of the patients were abstinent from gorging and 100% from spewing. And these additions were kept up toward the finish of regular treatment. This study is being utilized as a pioneer to investigate more impacts of computer game treatment. Everybody has a most loved character, regardless of whether it is from a book, film, or computer game. Individuals compose fan fiction, draw fan workmanship, and even take on the appearance of their number one characters. Thousands of individuals cosplay as their number one characters at shows far and wide. Hell, proficient cosplaying is currently a genuine method to get by. Yet, what are the impacts for becoming joined to somebody who isn't even real? Michigan State University and the University of California at Santa Barbara chose to investigate the subject. They asked study members to rate the amount they concurred with proclamations, for example, "I consider my character a companion of mine," and "I can see myself getting into a relationship with my character." Then they requested that members rate the amount they appreciated computer games with great characters, how regularly they played computer games, and how high their degrees of confidence were. Participants with higher character connection frequently had lower confidence, regardless of whether they delighted in the game more and played it all the more regularly. All things considered, it would be very baffling to locate the ideal young lady just to understand that she wasn't real. This doesn't imply that making the most of characters' accounts or composing fan fiction about them is an awful thing. Simply that fixation is unwanted and could have negative impacts. I hope you enjoy this video, so thank you for watching. If you like this video, give a like and subscribe my channel for more updates of amazing facts.